A mystery of Mount Everest. Decades before New Zealand mountaineer Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing Norgay famously summited the world's tallest peak, a British climber named George Mallory lost his life while trying. Searchers have since discovered and buried his body on Everest. But whether Mallory reached the summit before he died is a question that's been lost to history. 100 years later, researchers may be closer to knowing the answer. Climbers recently found a boot in the melting ice. They believe it belonged to Mallory's climbing partner, Andrew Irvine. One of the two men was likely carrying a Kodak camera with undeveloped film inside, and experts have said it might be possible to develop it. It wasn't found on Mallory's body, but historians are hoping that Irvine's purported boot may help climbers discover his remains and maybe the camera along with them. If that happens, and if the film can be recovered, and if it shows Mallory or Irvine at the summit, it'll rewrite history as we know it, showing the British explorers made the climb 29 years before Hillary and Norgay, even though the 1924 team didn't make it back down to tell the story. We are spending the day in the Himalayas. This is a special edition of The World from A to Z, and we're happy you could be along for the climb. My name is Carl Azuz. The highest point on Earth rises 29,032 feet above sea level, give or take. Some measurements put Mount Everest at 29,028 feet, some say 29,035 feet. Whatever it is, you can't stand any higher on terra firma than its summit. When asked why he wanted to climb it, George Mallory famously replied, "Because it's there." But he went on to explain, quote, "The answer is instinctive, a part, I suppose, of man's desire to conquer the universe. It has come at a high cost." Mallory was among the first of more than 300 people who've lost their lives on the mountain. Despite the more advanced equipment and technology we have a century after him, climbers perished on Everest in 2023 and 2024. And officials believe as many as 200 bodies remain on the mountain. It's extremely dangerous and difficult to remove them. In addition, the mountain is littered with trash. Climbers are now required to bring it back down with them, but before those rules were put in place, previous expeditions left behind all kinds of equipment. Now, Sherpas are risking their lives to clean it up.
Thousands of people have tried to climb Mount Everest, some successful, others have lost everything trying. But it's not the glory of summiting the tallest peak in the world that's motivating these climbers. It's about cleaning up the mountain that's a beacon to hundreds of adventurers a year. Once again, a clean-up team of soldiers, Sherpas and porters braved some of Everest's most inhospitable conditions to remove hazards that have collected along the route. One of the team leaders says it is dangerous but increasingly urgent work. The team recently battled Everest's frigid temperatures, whipping winds and altitudes with low oxygen levels to remove 11 tons of garbage from the mountain. And at times uncovering much more difficult things, some of the bodies of dead climbers entombed in the ice.
We have to bring them back as much as possible. And if we keep leaving them behind, our mountains will turn into a graveyard in the future. We have to bring them back.
The bodies were flown to Kathmandu for identification, the trash sent to sorting facilities to try to recycle what's salvageable. New rules now require climbers to haul their own garbage off the mountain, but there's still a backlog of unwanted materials on Everest, some from decades ago.
The garbage collected is what the climbers leave behind on the mountains. Mostly there are packaging of food, like can and tin and plastic. Apart from that, there are shoes, clothes, and tents. There's also a lot of broken glass and some ropes.
The lead Sherpa of the recovery team estimates there could be 40 to 50 tons of garbage near the summit of the mountain, layers deep and frozen solid, an almost insurmountable task to remove, but just like climbing the mountain itself, if there's a will, it can be done.
Making a stop stateside before stealing back over to Southern Asia, we want to recognize Mr. Mead's class today, watching from North Adams High School. It's in the village of Seaman in the Buckeye State of Ohio. Next, it's Coach Bray's students we're shouting out. Lindale High School is online in Lindale, Texas. The Eagles flying high in the Lone Star State. And they ain't the only birds. We've got the condors perched in Whittier, California, the Golden State. Great to have Mr. Pine's class with us from California High School.
Word of knowledge. What U.S. president served as Supreme Allied Commander in Western Europe during World War II? Dwight Eisenhower, Gerald Ford, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon. All of these presidents served in the Second World War, but the one who held that title in Europe was Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Did you know in 1952 the first presidential television ad aired for Dwight D. Eisenhower? Branch out into more history and civics topics at periodicpresidents.com.
Where in the world? This is where you'll find 8 of the 10 highest peaks on Earth. It's a landlocked country located between China and India. Its capital is Kathmandu. This is Nepal, a nation of more than 31 million people.
It's a fascinating and dramatically scenic part of the world. It makes sense that the Himalayan region of northern Nepal sees severe winters, but severe earthquakes are known to occur here too. The magnitude 7.8 tremor that struck Nepal in 2015 is estimated to have killed about 9,000 people and damaged hundreds of thousands of buildings. These disasters put stress on the nation's economy, which is characterized as low income by the CIA World Factbook. That's why traditional methods of making a living, like hunting for honey, look far different than anything you might have seen before.
The fog-glazed mountains surrounding the village of Top holds hives of the golden treasure. Honey hunters are gearing up to extract the gooey goodness. It's no easy feat. Himalayan giant honeybees build their colonies on steep 160-foot rock faces. To reach the bees, they have to get crafty. They cut pieces of bamboo strands and intertwine them to create rope ladders, which they can carry through the mountains.
I have to climb down the rope ladder, and it's fraught with the danger of falling. One must extract the honey and remain safe at the same time.
Climbers use smoke to calm the bees and make them less likely to attack. Once the coast is clear, honey hunters like Aida climb and slice off sections of honeycomb. And success! They extract the honey and store it in containers ready to be sold. Honey hunting is a tradition passed down through generations, serving as a crucial source of income for Nepali locals. These hunters recently collected about 150 liters of raw honey, which sells for about $15 per liter.
We're happy that we will get some income, but we are all worried now because there are not many beehives this time.
Unpredictable weather patterns in the region have depleted the hanging hives compared to years past.
Too much rain, too little rain, erratic and intense rain, long dry spell, heat and cold, all these extreme weather conditions, they put stress on maintaining the strength and the honey stock of the colonies.
And bees, they're crucial pollinators. The decline in Nepal's mountainous bee populations has reduced crop yields and resulted in fewer fruits in Top. But life's not without its climbs, and these honey hunters plan to continue their journeys.
Not too long ago, we brought you the story of a Nepali teenager who was attempting to become the youngest person ever to climb the 14 highest mountain peaks in the world. Update alert, he did it. Nimmarinji Sherpa, who started climbing at age 16, recently achieved the mountainous feat at age 18. He does have mountaineering in his blood. His father owns Nepal's largest mountain expedition company, and Sherpas, who mostly live in the region of Mount Everest, are crucial guides for climbers. Nimmarinji Sherpa plans to keep climbing and to leverage his accomplishment to get sponsored, benefit his community, and inspire new athletes in the sport. He knows a little summit about being in peak condition, on top of the world, standing tall, being in tip-top shape, making a towering achievement, taking life one step at a time, and the difference between a mountain and a molehill. We hope you'll continue climbing to new heights of learning with us. I'm Coral Azuz. This is The World from A to Z, and you mean the world to me.